Today, new conference matchups. Power 4 is underrated, and Army and Navy are 4-0. This is American Game Day. Welcome to American Game Day. Today is Saturday, October 5th. I'm your host, Brayden Slater. And I gotta say, this week, kind of a down week. A couple of the big teams got bye weeks, and there's really no really big games. I mean, the big game this week for us is Iowa versus Ohio State. ESPN's got Miami versus California. So, not much of a headline this week, but we got football today. Football is football, so let's go ahead and get started with our weekday scoreboard recap. Yeah, there was a good game on Friday night. Michigan State versus Oregon. Yeah, there's the final score of that game. And also, Syracuse goes on the road to UNLV. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm sure it was. There's the final score of that game. Alright, let's look at some headlines. Speaking of UNLV, yeah, Selesky, if I pronounce his name right, yeah, he was the starting quarterback for UNLV. In case you didn't hear, he quit due to NIL contract because UNLV owes him money. So he's like, I'm done, I'm out of here. Anyway, the backup quarterback replaced him with no problem, as they are now 4-0. Speaking of undefeated teams that get no respect, Duke is 5-0, Rutgers is 4-0, Pittsburgh is 4-0. These three teams in the Power 4 are not ranked. And yet there are teams that have one loss that are struggling the past couple weeks that are still ranked. A&M. Anyway, Gonzaga is now joining the Pac-12 in every sport except for football because they don't do football, starting in 2026. Not only does the Pac-12 gain another member, but some confusion here because Pac-12 needs one more member for football to actually get the Power 4 or make them a Power Conference to make it back to Power 5. UTEP is now, because of that, officially joining the Mountain West Conference starting the 2026 season as well. Long time has been coming for them. Alright. I'm surprised it's taking me this long to finally do a segment like this, but, because of conference realignment talk that we just had, there's going to be some new matchups mid-season. So, we got some new conference matchups today. UCLA at Penn State, SMU and Louisville, Michigan and Washington, USC and Minnesota, Texas Tech and Arizona. And the big one today is Miami at California. Now, by car, Miami's equipment truck, they can't take plane, got to travel 42 hours without stopping. That's without stopping. Over 2,800 miles. That's a big travel. And we'll see if Miami can pull out that win because California's a good team. But our game of the week is Iowa at Ohio State. 2:30 CBS. Can Ohio State remain undefeated? And with the win like this at home, can they claim the number one spot? Because it seems like if you're in the top 5 and you get a good win, or if you beat a good team, you claim that one spot. Like Texas, Georgia, Alabama. Is it Ohio State's turn? We're about to find out because Ohio State averaged 49 points per game, 380 yards in passing, 227 yards in rushing. They are dominating the turnover chain. Iowa has been a defensive team this year with 5 turnovers in the plus. I mean, but they got to work on some passing for sure. All right, and then a quarterback for Iowa. He's passing 62% with 588 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I gotta say, compared to last year, Iowa's offense is trending up. But Ohio State's got a pretty good defense too, and they probably have one of the best offense in the Big Ten. Will Howard, yeah, he's passing 68% as well. He's got over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. So that's quite a stat for him. And I gotta say, Ohio State, unless, well, they don't have to worry about Michigan. Michigan's terrible this year. Yeah, Ohio State really doesn't have much to worry about this year. But let's look at a conference breakdown. Let's look at the ACC first. SMU, one of their new matchups. Yeah, it's going to be pretty weird to see this as a conference game. 11 o'clock, ESPN. They go on the road to play number 22, Louisville. Yeah, going to be a good matchup as Louisville's got some statements to make. Let's look at SMU's upcoming schedule for the ACC. Yeah, they got Stanford. Yeah, who would have thought Stanford is a ACC member as well? That's going to be a conference game. Then they're at Duke, and then they go on, and then they're at home against Pitt. So 3 games on the road. And then Louisville, they are 3-1 right now. They're looking to make a statement in the ACC with Florida State and Clemson falling apart, and we'll see how Miami does against California tonight. But they have them in 3 weeks. But they got Virginia on the road, and then Boston College on the road too. At least they get Miami at home, so that's a positive. And then the big one tonight, 9:30 ESPN. California is good. They're looking good. Their only loss is to Florida State. Miami, I mean, despite with help by the ACC officiating last week against Virginia Tech on a Friday night, Miami is not bad at all. I'll talk about more of that later. Here's some other notable games around the ACC. Boston College at Virginia. And then we got Pitt versus North Carolina. That one is going to be a good one. 11 o'clock on ESPN2. Can't wait to watch that one. Yeah, Pitt's, surprisingly, no one's talked about Pitt. They're undefeated. And then Clemson, surprisingly, this is a big game. Somehow, with Florida State 1-4, they could potentially pull off this upset. At home, maybe. I don't know. They seem to struggle at home lately. But 6 o'clock ESPN, Clemson goes on the road to Florida State. And then Duke and Georgia Tech, 7 o'clock ACC Network. Duke is 5-0. Yep. Yeah, they're looking better than A&M right now. I don't know how they're not ranked. Let's look at Duke's upcoming schedule. They got a tough one. Their remaining schedule, I mean, Georgia Tech is good. Beat Florida State. Then they got Florida State next. SMU is not bad. And then Miami. So, if Duke can win these games, and they're still not ranked, someone threw a brick at me. Come on. Let's look at the ACC standings, because I for sure think that Duke should be in the top 5. Clemson at 5. Duke is at 4. Number 3 is Louisville. Number 2 is going to be Pitt. And number 1 is Miami. Can you believe that Pitt is number 2 and not ranked? I mean, unbelievable. What is the AP voters watching? I mean, Louisville's ranked. They're 3-1. And I don't think it's, I mean, you have to lost to Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's got some bad losses in there as well. But Pitt is undefeated. Duke is undefeated. There are two undefeated unranked teams from the ACC that have gotten no credit at all this year. And I think they got some games this week. I think they win today, they will be ranked. Rutgers, another team from the Big Ten that's not ranked. Nebraska, well, they got some work to do. I mean, they were ranked earlier in the season. They had a bad loss, but let's see if they can get that win. They climb back up. But let's look at Rutgers. They're 4-0. Got Nebraska at 3 o'clock today on the road. Then the next week, they got at home against Wisconsin. They'll host UCLA. Gonna be some good ones. I think they can win those games. And then I think their big one, which really set up if they really are a good team, is USC on the road. And then Michigan versus Washington. That is a conference matchup. USC and Minnesota. Conference matchup. Yep, these are all conference matchup. And Michigan somehow at 10. Oh yeah, Washington is 3-2. They went to the playoff last year. Not as great as I expected because Arizona wasn't a bad school last year. They weren't bad. He took the head coach for Arizona is now the head coach of Washington now. So I expected he'd take a number of programs. Yeah, because the transfer portal, they're going to lose some key players. But I think he can keep up the intensity at Washington this year. So far, it doesn't look to be happening, but they got Michigan at home, and Michigan's been struggling more lately. So it's really the battle of these two. Were in the playoff last year, but we're not having the season we were hoping for. Here's the Big Ten standings. Rutgers at 5, Iowa at 4, Penn State at 3, Oregon at 2, and Ohio State at 1. No one's really talked about Oregon as that much this year, despite them being undefeated. I mean, yeah, they've had a hard time getting their offense and defense going, but they're winning ball games. They just keep winning. Same with Ohio State and Penn State. And somehow Iowa's still in the top 2. How is Iowa the only team in here with the one loss? I don't know. They keep getting the talking points. All right, on to the Big 12, 10 o'clock on Fox. Tonight is Texas Tech versus Arizona. This one is going to be a good one for sure. Conference matchup. Yep, Arizona will be hosting their first Big 12 game. Can't wait to watch this one. It's going to be a good one because Texas Tech, they might not be the powerhouse they used to be, but they're not shy away for showing up on a team you least expect them to. But Arizona upcoming schedule 3-1 as they are trying to take over the Big 12. BYU, they got them next week. All right, I have a hard time with that one. BYU is undefeated right now. Let's look at some other big Big 12 games. Not really big, but West Virginia, Oklahoma State, yeah, boo. And then Baylor, boo. Against Iowa State, yeah! 6:30 on Fox, yeah. The Big 12 is kind of being a little disappointment this year. Despite, I really thought the Big 12 is pretty wide open. It really doesn't seem to be that way, although it might. I mean, Utah was at number 1 a couple weeks ago. They're at number 5 now. Arizona at 4. They can get a good win tonight. They'll surely bounce back up. Kansas State, probably with the preseason favored, with the loss to Utah, or BYU, sorry. Really sets them down. But Iowa State, no one really talks about Iowa State this year at all. And they're 4-0. They got a good one today. Well, not really good. They're playing Baylor. Easy win. So once again, another week that no one will be talking about them. And then BYU is at the top of the conference. Yep. They weren't even a Big 12 member 2 years ago. They are now running the conference. Arizona at 3 o'clock today. Oh, I'm sorry. They have a bye week this week, but they have Arizona next week. And Oklahoma State the following week. Then they go on the road to UCF and Utah. Week 5, and I still have no idea if UCF is a good team or not. I don't know what's wrong with UCF. On to the SEC, 11 o'clock on ABC. Number 9, Missouri goes on the road to number 25, A&M. How in the world is A&M ranked? Come on. And they're actually tied with UNLV at 25. Can you believe that? Yeah, AP website has some glitches with that tie all week. But let's look at Missouri's upcoming schedule. Yeah, they got UMass. Yeah, you gotta have your cupcakes in the SEC. So yeah, they'll get a break from after A&M, and then after that, oh, Auburn. Yeah, and win that. Oh, and then Alabama. So Missouri is really kind of circling at October 26th at Alabama. That one might be the game of the week. because I think Missouri can win out from here. Ole Miss, how are they going to respond after an embarrassing loss to Kentucky? Is it really that embarrassing? I mean, Kentucky isn't that bad, but they did almost beat Georgia. But we're talking about Ole Miss here. South Carolina, also, it's pretty good. They're like Kentucky, where you never know what they're going to do. That's going to be a big game. 2:30 on ABC, and then Tennessee goes on the road to Arkansas at 6:30 on ABC. And then we're about to find out if UCF is actually good or not. Even though this is on SEC Graphic, I'm mainly going to be talking about UCF in this game because no one cares about Florida anymore. Yep, but they have to go to the Swamp, which is a hard place to win, except for this year. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Ole Miss is number 5 in the SEC. Georgia is number 4. Number 3 is Missouri. Alabama at 2. And number 1 is still Texas. Despite me having Ole Miss as a preseason favorite to win the SEC, yeah, it is sadly now going to be Texas now. Oh yeah, and get this. The SEC, just like all the other conferences, has 3 undefeated teams. All SEC undefeated teams are ranked. SEC bias from the AP voters? Yeah, I think so. And the SEC schools really haven't played anybody yet, except for Alabama. Yeah, and Alabama's not even number 1. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at the Pac-12. Just one game this week. 5:30 on the CW. Colorado State or Oregon State? Not much to talk about this game. It's just fun to talk about the Pac-12. Or the Pac-2, or the Pac-1, what it is today. Because Washington State's got a bye week. Alright, let's look at the group of 5. I'm mainly going to spotlight Navy and Army this week because they're both undefeated. They're both competitive. The first time, I think it's the first time since like the 90s that both the military teams are undefeated this far into the season. I can't wait for the Army and Navy game. That's going to be one crazy American game. But Navy's got Air Force. It's going to be a big game. Another military team they are going to play. Tulsa, I'll talk about Army and Tulsa later because Tulsa's one of the teams we cover. Appalachian State and Marshall. Not really, I need another game to throw on here. But James Madison and Louisiana Monroe. That one is going to be a good one. They got General Booty at home. They're looking at the cost of chaos and then James Madison's season, undefeated season, and shake up the Sun Belt. But let's do a race to the playoff. Liberty is at the bottom. Yeah, well, kind of. But they're in the race. Yeah. Anyway, Boise State, Memphis, UNLV. And the only ranked Group of 5 team is James Madison at 24 in my ranking. Yeah, this is based off my rankings. Yeah, James Madison, UNLV, both undefeated, but both got tough games this week. UNLV actually already played this week, but I'm recording this before that game happened on Friday night. So if they won, they're 5-0. They might go ahead and jump James Madison, but based on what I'm reading right now, according they're 4-0, but that graphic might say they're 5-0 or they're 4-1. I don't know. But yeah, let's take James Madison. It's all about James Madison right now. So they're actually the ranked team in my rankings and the best Group of 5 right now. They are dominating. Louisiana Monroe, like I mentioned today. Coastal Carolina. They really haven't been as dominating they've been in the past. Neither has Georgia Southern and Southern Minnesota or Michigan. I think they've got a clean path to the playoff right now. But let's look at the AP. AP had Boise State ranked as their highest Group of 5 team. They are going to be playing Texas. Texas for sure is going to dominate the Penn State at Oregon. That one is going to be a really good game. Can't wait to watch that. That's actually a Big Ten matchup right there. Can't wait for that. Michigan at Tennessee. No doubt Tennessee is winning that game. And then another conference matchup, Missouri at Georgia. I think it's going to be, I'm predicting, I think we'll have one Big Ten and then one SEC matchup somewhere in the first 2 rounds. Because there are a lot of good Big Ten and SEC teams this year. But yeah, I'll probably go with Georgia to win this game. I think they will be better this time of the season. But anyway, Texas for sure beating Iowa State. Somehow, some way, Iowa State is ranked up there and gets a bye week. But yeah, they do. Give me Texas over Iowa State. Alabama beating Oregon. I think Tennessee can beat Miami. Ohio State might be able to beat Georgia. I'm going to give Ohio State that edge right there. I think Ohio State can beat Tennessee, so I got Ohio State in the championship game. But, Texas, can Texas beat Alabama again? No, Alabama's winning. I got Alabama and Ohio State in the championship game based off this bracket. And I think Alabama's going to win. Just because of that win versus Georgia. And that, well, they almost allowed a comeback, but I think they know to not put their foot off the gas. And USC and Ole Miss are just left out of the playoffs. So get a couple wins and get a couple teams ahead of them to lose. And they're in the spot up there. Alright, let's look at some NFL headlines. Odell Beckham is back. I actually kind of forgot about him. But, yeah. He's been injured all season long with an undisclosed injury. And he's actually on the Dolphins roster. Maybe that's why Tua's having a hard time. Just being uncautious or whatever. But anyway, yeah, he's back. He's ready to play for the Dolphins tomorrow. I don't even know who the Dolphins are playing. Who are they playing? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's back. Dolphins ready to go. They are on the third-string quarterback. All right, let's look at some Thursday night football. Yeah, let's recap that game. Yeah, Buccaneers go on the road to the Falcons. How did... I almost said Tom Brady. Yeah, but Baker Mayfield is on a roll right now. After last week's game, how did he do Thursday night? Well, there's the final score of that game. Yeah, I recorded this before the game actually ended, so here we go. How did the Buccaneers do in this game on the road? Alright, some other big games around the NFL tomorrow. Yeah, London. If you love London, well, the Jets versus Minnesota did not get a good game at all. Yeah. 8:30 in the morning, NFL Network. No one's going to be watching that game. Minnesota's going to completely blow them out of the water. And there's the Dolphins game. Yeah, that's who they're playing. Yeah, yeah, not good. But yeah, our big game this week is the Buffalo versus Houston. That one is going to be a big one for sure. It's really the only big one this week. And then Monday at 7:15 on ESPN, Monday Night Football. The Saints goes on the road to the 4-0 Chiefs. Some way, somehow, the Chiefs are undefeated despite getting helped by the officials. But let's look at the Saints. How do they get here? They're 2-2. They got a win over the Cowboys. Yep, they beat the Cowboys. Yep, American team. They are actually on a 2-game losing streak since their win. So yeah, a little, I guess, karma for beating them, I guess. I don't know. But how are the Cowboys? They got a game tomorrow night, 7:20 on NBC. Yeah, they go on the road to Steelers. Not gonna win. Not at all. Steelers are winning this game. Yeah, they're 3-1. Their only loss to the Colts. Every one of their games ended by one score. Crazy, right? Steelers are that good. All right. Back to college football. Let's get Kansas out of the way. They got Arizona at 7 o'clock, ESPN2 today. Arizona State's winning, for sure. They're 3-1. Kansas has got no momentum at all. They look completely terrible. They should just go with whoever was the starting quarterback last week. Anyway, yeah, Arizona's only lost to Texas Tech, and it was 30-20. Well, wait. Yeah. They lost this week to Texas Tech, and it was 30-22. So Arizona State's going to be wanting revenge and wanting back up. But I think Kansas trend might trend up. No, it's not. Their only win in this schedule is home against Houston. Yeah, that's the only game they're winning because they got at Kansas State, hosting Iowa State. That might be a win for them. No, it's not. Iowa State's winning that one as well. And at 3 o'clock, ESPN2. West Virginia goes on to Oklahoma State. I think I'm about done with Oklahoma State as well. I mean, Oklahoma State was probably at the top of the conference to start the season. Probably had a chance to play Kansas State in the Big 12 Championship game again. Nope, not happening. Sorry, Mike Gundy. It's not happening. But the turnover ratio, this might help OSU. The turnover ratio for West Virginia is -5. So West Virginia is not very good at protecting the ball. So there's a little help for OSU right there. As for Alan Bowman, he's passing 60%, 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Well, he might throw the ball right back to West Virginia after that. That's a lot of interceptions he's thrown. But let's look at Oklahoma State's upcoming schedule. West Virginia at 3 o'clock today. Then they got BYU on the road. Ooh, and it's a late game, too. And they're not winning that game either. But their next 2 games after that, I think is winnable. At Baylor, I think it's winnable. It's going to be a tough environment, but I don't think fans are going to show up. And then they'll be hosting Arizona State. All right, Tulsa. I kind of given up on Tulsa, but they host Army today, and my main talk is about the military teams this week, Army and Navy. And Army is getting the spotlight. They're 4-0, 1 o'clock on ESPNU. Yeah, they're undefeated just like Navy. This is going to be quite a matchup. Can't wait for that game. Yeah, I'm really hyping up Army and Navy this year. I hope they both stay undefeated, and I kind of wondering, what is the American Conference going to do if they're both undefeated? I mean, are they going to both play each other in the American Championship game and then play each other again the next week? That would be quite interesting. But let's look at Tulsa. Yeah, I have to talk about them. They're part of the teams we cover. But yeah, their upcoming schedule. Maybe they could beat Temple. Yeah, on the road. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah, they're beating Temple, I think. And then UTSA. That one is going to be a tough one as well. All right, let's look at our underdog game of the week 6, 6:30 on NBC. I'm at 2-3 right now. I'm going to do the Big Ten. This one is going to be a tough one. This one is going to be not a tough one, but a weird one. I have picked Michigan is number 10 in the country, and Washington is favored by 2.5 points. I know Michigan is on the road, and they haven't had the best season, but Washington really hasn't had that great of a season as well. And most definitely, how in the world is Michigan the underdog in this team? This is a gimme W for me, and I need a win in the underdog, so make this 3-3. Michigan is winning this ball game. Woo! All right, it's now time for my favorite segment. Now time for the Upshot! Starting off with SNU versus Louisville. Oh yeah, 11 o'clock ESPN. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Alright, who am I going to pick to win this game? It's going to be quite a matchup. First time these two are playing each other in conference in the ACC. Louisville is going to give SNU a welcoming segment and here, and win this ball game. Ole Miss, South Carolina, 2:30 ESPN. This one is a tough one for you. No, Ole Miss is coming off of a loss. Give me Ole Miss to win this game. Sorry, South Carolina, your season is over. You might go to a ball game, but your chance of running the SEC is over. Maybe you can pull up an upset in the coming weeks, but Ole Miss is winning this ball game. Fresno State at, Rutgers at Nebraska. Where did I get Fresno State from? Rutgers versus Nebraska, 3 o'clock FS1. Rutgers. I think Rutgers going to continue their undefeated season. No, it's over. Nebraska. Yeah, I've been hyping up Rutgers all show long, and I'm switching it. Nebraska is winning this game. I love what Nebraska is doing right now, and maybe surely they could boost their momentum up. They're at home, too. It's hard to win there, too. 6 o'clock ESPN. Number 15 Clemson goes on the road to Florida State. Normally, if it was a normal Florida State team, that environment, good luck winning that game, Clemson. I'm giving Clemson the W here, for sure. Clemson is winning this game. All right, Tennessee versus Arkansas, 6:30 ABC primetime. This is a primetime game? Really? Why? But it is anyway. Arkansas hasn't looked too bad this year, but Tennessee is on the fire. They had a bye week last week, but they're looking. They got healthy, they prepared. Tennessee is getting this win. Michigan versus Washington. Like I already mentioned, underdog game of the week. Most definitely, I am picking Michigan to win this game. I think 6:30 on NBC. They're finally getting the momentum we've been looking for. For somehow, some way, they are the underdog in this game. Give me Michigan as the underdog. I don't think I've ever seen number 10 team in the country as an underdog to an unranked team. And they're on the road, so I guess that's that. But 10 o'clock on Fox, Texas Tech versus Arizona. Okay. Matchup, conference matchup. Arizona. I think I like the way they're trending up. Arizona is winning this ball game. All right, let's talk about our big games this week. Yeah. All right, first up, A&M versus Missouri. Number 9 versus 25. Somehow A&M is ranked. I don't even know why I'm even making this a big game. It's the only ranked versus ranked matchup this week. Missouri is getting this W on the road. Big statement win for Missouri, and they can say they beat a ranked opponent this week here. Yeah, another statement. And the big one is because Gameday down there right now, 9:30. Yeah, ESPN late game. Yeah, Miami has to travel a long time for this one. I hope the equipment traveled by bus, but I hope the player traveled by plane because that's a long drive. But I think they're going to be tired after that long drive. Maybe they need to get some rest, but California is getting the win at home, getting Miami a welcoming statement here. And then our game of the week, Iowa versus Ohio State, 2:30 on CBS. Yep, Ohio State is a 20-point favored superdog in this game. Iowa definitely will make it a lot closer than that. There's EA Sports pick, but I'm going to have to go with Ohio State with this W. Ohio State continuing their undefeated season and continuing their trend to win the Big Ten this year. Finally, right, Nate? This might finally be your season. Anyway, thanks for watching American Gameday. Enjoy your college football Saturday.